people, right? Tell me, Miss Cindy, who am I talking to?
Right. Well, we've got people from Fort Smith, and then we have people from Dardanelle. So every morning we get on the Bost Morning News and we get to wave at each other and have fun, tell jokes, and we get to dance a little bit. So we enjoy the Bost Morning News.
I love it. Well, you guys are better morning people than I am. I guess, but yes. Okay, well, as Cindy said, I'm Brett Raines with 4029 News, and I'm glad to be here to talk with you guys. I'll try and make it exciting. I don't know. That's what I do. I talk to people. I tell people I'm a storyteller. I like to tell the stories of our community. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're sad and stuff, but we try to do the best we can with what we do. There's a lot going on nowadays. We're talking about elections a lot. We're 28 days away from a big election coming up on November 8th. We do lots of things when it's, what do you guys think most people always ask about? The weather. They want to know what the weather is going to be like, right? So I don't do too much weather. I do weather when it's bad. I'm the poor guy who has to go out there when there's storms or tornadoes and stuff. But anything from weather to news to all sorts of stuff. I see people. Good. Miss Cindy, what do we have any questions or anything? What do you think people want to know?
Well, have you guys ever seen on the news whenever a guy's standing out there and he's telling us about the hurricanes and his umbrella's flying? Haven't you guys seen that? So that's what you've done that?
I used to do that when I was younger. Now I let the younger people, like, I've never done hurricanes. We have more tornadoes and floods here.
Right.
So tornadoes, I used to chase those. Now I kind of wait for them to move through and let the younger storm chasers do that. And I show up and talk about after that.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
April does.
Here. Oh, okay. Miss April.
What's your first book?
Oh my God.
I'm sorry?
She asked what your first book was.
No.
Go ahead.
Oh.
My first book?
Yeah. So I think she's an author and journalist.
You know, I'm kind of bad. When I was a kid, what really got me to reading, I liked scary stories. So I read a lot of a guy named Stephen King. It's fitting. It's October, right? So.
Right? Yeah, we were just talking about the Halloween costumes that people are planning on wearing. So.
Got you. Who else has a question? Did I miss something? Did this gentleman have something?
I have a question.
Yes, go for it.
Do you have to have a degree in journalism to be a journalist?
You know, mostly you do nowadays. You know what a lot of people don't know about me is I went to school for engineering. I never went to school for journalism. It's the only job I've had since I was 19 years old. When I was going to school, I started at the bottom of the company running a prompter for a guy named Craig Cannon. And back in those days, we had to rip paper strips with all the stories on them and print them out. And then I learned how to run a camera in the studio. And something else a lot of people don't know. When I turned 21, I found out I was going to be a dad. So I had to get a full-time job and go to work, right? So this job is pretty much the only thing I've done since I was 19 years old. I used to be the young guy. Now I guess I'm not the youngest guy anymore at my station. But yes, answer your question. Most of the time you do have to have a journalism degree to do that. But as with anything, nothing is ever 100% absolute, right? So there are exceptions. And I guess I'm one of those exceptions because I did not go to school to learn how to do it. It's just all that I've done since I was 19 years old.
All right.
I hope that helps. Does that help?
Yeah.
Do you like cameras? Do you like video? What do you like to do?
Just like informing people. I just like to do some research.
That's something I've had to get very good at. You know what's been giving me a headache lately? I've been having to look at a lot of laws in Arkansas Constitution when it comes to election laws. I tell people I'm not an attorney either, but it seems like I'm starting to sound more and more like one.
Yeah, I mean, I like to be like one of those guys who do the research, and give and when they're done with it, I give back to it. Like if I was one of those researchers, I would do that.
Oh, well, I might be able to put you to work doing some research. That's kind of the interesting thing about my job. You have to do a little bit of everything, it seems, from.
Yeah, I like to be like the behind the scenes, like, you know how some co-anchors, they rely on some people with research. Like I want to be the research group. Like read books, go to multiple websites, double check, facts check, all that.
Check.
Sure,
That's very important.
That's
Yeah.
very important. Well, thank you. What's your name?
Jacob.
Jacob, thank you for talking with me today. That's something that I do a lot in this area. I don't have much of a staff. It's pretty much me. I usually find my own stories. I usually do my own camera work, do the own interviews. Pretty much everything you see in my stories, I write everything and I shoot everything and I also edit everything.
Wow.
Bad thing is if there's a problem or it gets messed up, that's pretty much on me. So, anybody else have a question? Yes.
Tommy.
Yeah, how did you get into journalism? Okay, so
Your journalist.
How do I what?
He wants to know how
How
what
you're-
made you want to go into journalism?
Oh, okay. So not many people know that either. I didn't really know that I wanted to go into journalism. I had my stepfather worked in sales. He originally started selling for like commercials for radios and television. When I was about 19, I needed a job. So the dilemma was, do I go work for the cable company, Cox Cable, or do I apply for this job at 4029 part-time? And my stepdad said, they have news at 4029. You should do that. You might enjoy it. So initially I thought, oh, that sounds kind of fun and cool. Maybe I'll try that. And I guess it kind of stuck because now it's a career 20 something, 6-7 years later. So do you guys know, you might not know, you know what else I like to do? It's not just all news and TV. You know what I wanted to do before I was in TV?
What?
I wanted to be a rock star, play guitar all night and sing songs. Yeah, but the challenge with that, you don't make much money starting out. You don't always hit it big. So I had to get a job to kind of fund that. But you know what's cool? I still play guitar and I have my own band and we do my own songs. So now after all these years of TV, now I'm playing more and more music. So I've always kept that going. So
That's
yeah, something you
great.
like to do, never give up on it because you still make it happen. Any more questions?
no question.
I'm sorry.
Hold on just a second. I think we got one in
Kim's class.
yeah, Kim's class.
Hello, Kim's class.
She's trying to unmute for you there.
Where's Kim's class? Is that Fort Smith?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
she's in Fort
There
Smith.
it goes.
There.
All right, Brad has a question.
Okay.
Let's do a winter weather forecast for this year for Fort Smith. It's gonna have a lot of snow this year.
The winter weather forecast. I don't
Ooh.
know. We'll have to ask the weather guys. Even though my last name is Rains, I'm not much of a weather guy. I bet it's going to be cold at times and a chance of snow. You know what the truth is? Even the weather guys, they couldn't tell you more than a week out what the weather's going to be. Yeah. You like to you follow the weather? Hang on, I can't see it. Step over there.
Yeah, he stepped out of the camera. There he is.
There you go. What's your name?
Brent,
Brent?
Yes.
yeah,
Well, I'm Brett. It's nice to talk with you. You like following the weather, huh?
yeah,
See, everyone wants to know what the weather is going to be like. That's why you see the weather guys on so often, because everybody needs to know what it's going to be like, if they need to dress appropriately or if they're going to get wet. Like you. Sorry, I can't help you. Most people ask if it's going to snow on Christmas. I don't know.
You don't have that answer?
I do not have that answer. Good. All right. Do we have any more questions?
Stacy wants to know what your favorite story was.
Oh, my favorite story.
I
don't know.
Good question.
I've done so many. It's kind of sad because all I do is tell so many stories. I tell a story every day. And really, all of my stories are my favorite, I guess, because I try to put everything into each one to give it the time and attention it deserves. I guess I really like stories sometimes where you can help people and have an impact. There's examples of that through the years. There was one time after storms in Van Buren, a tornado, I found a man out. He didn't have a chainsaw. He was chopping trees and limbs with a hand axe, like just a little chopping it by hand. And it turned out the guy was in his 90s, and he's a World War II veteran. And I never know what's going to happen, but now I did a thing called Facebook Live where I talked to him and I just showed him out there working. And by the end of the day, he had a yard full of volunteers who were helping get trees off his house, fixing his roof, and all sorts of stuff. So that was really awesome. I really like to be able to make a difference and help people when possible. So thank you for that question. I saw another hand go up.
I do, Mr.
What's your name?
My name is Devin, Mr. Rains. Nice to
Yeah.
meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you. What's your question, sir?
Are you conscious around dangerous weather such as tornadoes and storms?
What's that? What do you mean? Do I try to be careful around it?
Yes.
Oh, yes. We have to be safe. I used to be a little wilder when I was younger, but not anymore. It's always safety first, right? You know, the good thing. Where are you from? Are you in Dardanelle or Fort Smith?
Russellville.
Russellville. Like at Fort Smith, I'm sure, do you have lots of storm shelters and safe rooms at all the schools in Russellville and stuff?
Yes.
So,
Yes. And a lot of times, if we know it's going to be real bad, I always have in the back of my mind, we might be near one of those shelters or something, so we can take that if needed. Now it's different. If I need video of the tornado, I don't really do that. I'll let the storm chasers do that now. Try and get video. But in fact, nowadays, if it's a tornado outside, I'd probably prefer to hang out in the storm shelter with you guys instead of being out in it. Because I'm not going to get wet and I'm going to be able to talk with people who are taking shelter from the storm. And that's my main focus, is to kind of talk to people and ask what's going on. What do you think of all this? Tell me about your community. So, all right. Well, thank you for your question. But anybody else? I see another hand here.
Yeah. What is your funniest story?
Funniest story. Oh, it's awful. Sometimes I don't really get to tell too many funny stories. In fact, a lot of times I don't get to tell too many happy stories. It seems I don't get to smile enough at my stories, because sometimes they're sad, or or something's happened to somebody and they need help, or something's gone wrong, or but let's see. I don't know. If I think of a funny one, I'll get back with you on that one. I wish I could do more funny stories. Yes, ma'am. I like is that a bow in your hair? I like that. What's your name?
What is your darkest story?
Oh,
Ooh.
my darkest story.
Wow.
I don't know. There's so many. Yeah, and you're in the pretty pink too, and you asked that question. I don't know. One of the things that's always stuck with me years ago when I was starting out, and after I worked my way up out of the studio, I started being a camera guy, right? Before I was reporting. But I remember police were looking for a guy in an area called Arcoma, right next to Fort Smith. They had done something, but he was running through the woods. But I remember next day, I was at a friend's business on 0th Street in Fort Smith, and a lady came up to me and she said, "I have something for you." And she said, "My brother wants to talk with you. He was the guy police were chasing, and he was in the woods, and he was watching you while police were looking for him." So that was kind of creepy when I thought about it. So now, if there's ever a manhunt or police are chasing someone, I always tell our newer people, you never know, that person could be right there in the woods watching you and police not even know. So I guess that was kind of creepy. Any more questions, guys? Oh, Okay, I see, on the right in red, yes.
No,
You're on one. Okay, well, I got you first. Yes,
I'm Big Jeff. I'm used to, I was raised in Atlanta, Georgia. It rained all the time.
yeah. It would rain all the time.
Yeah.
What's your question?
It used to rain all the time here. But
Did you ever chase tornadoes?
yes, I used to do that a bunch. I used to, I don't do it so much now because we have people who do that. But I used to, what do you want to get if you're a storm chaser? You want to get the good video, right? So I used to be the guy who would try and drive right into it to find it, to try and find it. You know, but I don't do that anymore, and I wouldn't advise anybody to do that. And there's a few times where it got pretty scary. That where in Oklahoma, outside a place called Wister and Huebner, it was night, and I didn't know it, but we actually ended up driving right through one. Unfortunately, we were right next to a church that had a big awning, a brick church, and it kind of saved us because the tornado crossed. And I like to tell people that church might have saved us. Who knows? Thank you for your question. There's another person. Yes. I can't hear you just yet.
What the weather is scary, the storms?
She asked if it's scary out in the storms.
Yes.
Can be. Yes, it can be. I prefer to be inside my house and watch it storm. Right. Where are you from? Are you in Dardanelle or Fort Smith?
Dardanelle.
Dardanelle. Okay. You know, that's kind of my line. You've had lots of storms there too. Usually they roll through here first, don't they? And then they head your way. Yes, no. If I get a choice, I tell people, I think it's awesome when it's raining outside and I don't have to work. If I'm off, I love to watch it rain. But if I have to be out in it, I try to stay dry. Thank you for your question. Anybody else have anything? No? Well, I appreciate it so much, guys. It was so awesome to talk with everybody.
Well, we appreciate you for coming on and spending the morning with us for a few minutes. So
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
I think we have one more question. Devin, do you have a question? Okay, one more. Oh, you don't have a question?
No.
All right.
Well, I
Well, we
appreciate
sure do appreciate you.
No, let me know if I can help in any way.
Thank All right, guys, can you tell him bye? Say bye.
All right, guys, see you.
Thank you.
Tell everybody at Bost, thank you
Bye
for
with
me.
us
I
today.
really like Bost and everything they do for our community, and I'm glad maybe we can chat again sometime, okay?
Most definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you again. Thank you, guys.
Okay, guys, bye.
Bye, Cindy.
Bye.